Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really profound organizational shift that is absolutely mandatory if you're building modern AI infrastructure. We're actually breaking down part 8 of a fantastic 12-part tutorial called The Modern Data Center, Networking in the AI Age. This comes to us from Virtualization Options LLC. They're a Colorado-based technology research, education, and advisory organization. And for this explainer, we are focusing strictly on the insights from Chapter 8. Now, if you've been following the evolution of data centers, you already know the tech is advancing at breakneck speed. But the actual organizational structures building these facilities, well, they're kind of struggling to keep up. So we're going to look at why the data center of 2025 is no longer just a building that houses servers, but rather a single, deeply integrated, co-designed machine. Let's jump right in with a question that, honestly, might make a few of you wince. Is your IT networking team actually talking to your facilities engineers? Historically, enterprise data centers were built by these heavily siloed teams, right? They operated with totally independent budgets and their own planning cycles. IT bought the switches, and facilities basically just brought the power and the air. But in the age of AI, that status quo isn't just inefficient anymore, it's completely broken. The mathematical reality here is actually pretty stark. Back in the legacy era of 10-kilowatt racks, organizational silos were, basically just an inconvenience. If teams didn't coordinate perfectly, maybe a deployment took an extra week, or somebody had to overnight a different power cord. No big deal. But welcome to the AI era. We're now looking at hardware like the NVIDIA GB20 NVL72 systems drawing over 130 kilowatts of power per rack. At that insane density, those exact same silos become a critical deployment-killing risk. The physical constraints mean the old, fragmented way of doing things is fundamentally incompatible with reality. Here's the thing. When a facilities engineer makes a critical decision, say about power routing or cooling capacity, without day-to-day coordination with IT networking, they inevitably create massive technical debt. In this AI era, these uncoordinated decisions lead to incredibly expensive delays and permanent performance shortfalls. And the worst part? They're often impossible to remediate once the hardware is physically bolted to the floor. I mean, you can't simply fix it in software when your rack is literally melting. And this brings us to what the source material perfectly calls the integration seam. We need to zoom our narrative directly into the single most critical integration point of the entire modern data center, the AI rack itself. This is the physical location where IT networking, high-voltage power, and industrial plumbing quite literally collide. The interdependencies here are so incredibly tight that treating them as separate, siloed disciplines is basically a recipe for absolute disaster. Just picture this for a second. On one side, you've got heavy-duty liquid cooling pipe manifolds with pressure gauges, and right next to it, incredibly sensitive IT fiber cabling. Inside a modern rack, these two totally different worlds are fighting for the exact same physical space. The water supply and return plumbing manifold takes up physical volume that must be meticulously accounted for in the row layout. Meanwhile, your high-density fiber assemblies connecting to your spine switches, they have to be routed super carefully around this plumbing infrastructure. If they aren't, you compromise thermal isolation, or worse, you physically snap your network cables. Let's break down exactly what's getting stuffed into this space. A complex AI rack assembly now includes dense compute nodes like the NVL72, a top-of-rack network switch, a massive high-capacity power distribution unit, and a liquid cooling manifold. Right, so we aren't just throwing Petra boxes on a metal shelf anymore. This is a complex assembly with incredibly strict dimensional, weight, power, and thermal limits. Just to put it in perspective, a fully populated liquid-cooled rack like this weighs somewhere between 1,000 to 1,300 kilograms. That is essentially parking a compact car on a 2x4-foot tile of raised floor. So what's the actual cost of this uncoordinated design? The source gives us some really concrete, honestly painful examples. Imagine your incredibly expensive network switch arriving, but the facilities team specified a PDU without ever consulting IT. Now that PDU lacks sufficient circuit capacity for the switch's power draw, and it just trips. Or imagine the mechanical team designing the overhead cable tray without any network input. Suddenly, the fiber runs to your spine layer exceed the physical length budget for the specific optics you purchased. Your cables literally won't reach, or the signal just degrades. You were looking at months of delay and cascading failures, all because teams were working in their own little bubbles. So the crucial takeaway here is that fixing this requires a fundamental paradigm shift. The solution, which, by the way, is already standard practice at the major hyperscalers, is establishing a unified design authority. What this means is merging facilities and IT under a single unified team with a single integrated CapEx budget and, most importantly, shared performance objectives. You absolutely cannot have the facility team optimizing purely for cheap power while the IT team is optimizing purely for low latency. They have to share the exact same North Star. And this builds into a really practical framework. A unified design authority rests on what we call the 3 pillars of co-design: power and electrical, mechanical and thermal, and network and IT. For the 2025 data center to even function, these 3 pillars must actively interconnect their responsibilities right from the very first schematic drawing. Notice how strictly these pillars actually constrain one another. Power handles substation sizing, but those targets must be set jointly with IT hardware specs. Mechanical deals with routing and rack weight, which directly dictates what network equipment you can legally install. And IT finalizes switch placement, but only within the rigid physical limits handed to them by the other 2 pillars. It's like a giant puzzle, and everything is deeply connected. Because everything is connected physically, our metrics have to change too. For years, the industry relied on fragmented legacy metrics. Facilities cared about PUE, or power usage effectiveness. Networking cared about link utilization. Compute cared about raw GPU utilization. Now, these were great for isolated subsystems, but they utterly failed to measure the actual business value of an integrated AI factory. Think about it. You can have a network with 90% link utilization, but if it's dropping packets and forcing retransmissions, it's actually harming the business, even though it looks super efficient on an IT dashboard. This is exactly why we need a new metric. It's called goodput. Goodput is defined as the useful throughput that directly advances model training. It is the ultimate composite metric, measured as useful work delivered per dollar spent per watt. Goodput forces the mechanical, electrical, and IT teams to stop looking at their siloed dashboards and finally align their efforts toward true usable business output. It asks one simple question: is this watt of power passing through this pipe of water over this fiber optic cable actually training the AI model faster? To understand why goodput is so incredibly vital, consider the dramatic financial stakes represented by this number right here, 15%. If a network stall drops your GPU utilization from 65% down to 55%, the useful output of your entire fleet is slashed by a massive 15%. But here's the real kicker. While those GPUs are stalled out, they are still burning full electrical power. Your costs are completely fixed, but your revenue-generating capacity just fell off a cliff. And that brings us to this powerful quote straight from Chapter 8 of the source material. Optimizing the network is therefore equivalent to recovering lost GPU revenue. When you frame the physical design of the data center this way, let me tell you, it tends to focus executive attention very quickly. We are just tweaking cables and water pipes to be neat and tidy anymore. We are physically architecting the financial efficiency of hundreds of millions of dollars of compute infrastructure. So I'm going to leave you with a final provocative thought to take away from this explainer today. Look at your current projects, your current teams, and your current planning cycles, and ask yourself, are you still just building buildings for servers? Or are you ready to co-design an integrated AI machine? The era of the siloed data center is absolutely over. The future belongs to those who design the network, the power, and the plumbing as one unified engine. Thanks for hanging out with me for this deep dive, and I highly recommend using these slides to rethink how your own infrastructure teams are communicating today. See you next time.